everybody, and welcome back to Wunu, your weekly Universal news and updates. If you're new here, I find all the changes in Universal Florida and put them into weekly edits for your enjoyment. But enough on me. Let's see what's new at Uni. Starting off this week's updates, we don't have the best of news. 6 attractions will be temporarily closing starting August 9th. Luckily, most of the attractions are lesser ridden or smaller attractions, so if you plan on going soon, this shouldn't crash your entire vacation plan. The 6 attractions include Kang and Kodo's Twirl and Hurl, Fast and Furious Supercharged, A Day in the Park with Barney, Stormforce Accelatron, Poseidon's Fury, and Fear Factor Lives. This is, however, odd that Fear Factor was even put on this list, as it has remained closed since the park reopened and not had a single showtime. These are not the only procedures Universal has had to take to cut costs, however. With all of these attractions closing until further notice, Universal has also had to lay off an undisclosed amount of workers for the second time since their reopening. I just wanted to put out my best wishes to anybody who was laid off and say that I hope that this opens up an even better opportunity for your career in the future. But workers are not the only thing being cut from the park soon, as so are the park's opening hours. Both parks are usually open at 9 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. However, as of recently, Islands of Adventure will be opening at 10 p.m. and closing at 6 p.m., and the Studios Park will be opening at 9 a.m. and closing at 5 p.m. Also, regarding park hours, starting August 9th, hotel guests will no longer receive the early park admission usually provided when they stay in a Universal Orlando resort. Okay, so I'll admit it's starting to sound like just a load of bad news, but there is a light at the end of this dark tunnel of layoffs and closed attractions. It just has a barricade in front of it you need a Florida ID to pass through. Universal is now selling a reusable ticket to Florida residents that works with no blackout dates until December 24th. This is a ridiculously good deal, as this is basically a much cheaper version of an annual pass. Just keep in mind that it is a ticket and not an annual pass, meaning you still don't get the pass holder perks like free parking, buttons, or the lounges. But enough excluding people from the fun just because they don't have an annual pass. If you take up the new offer Universal has very kindly dropped on our heads, you will want to take a few trips around the newly opened Halloween Horror Nights tribute store, found in Islands of Adventure. It's been open for more than a week now and can be located by the extended queue for Revenge of the Mummy. The one worry a lot of people had for this shop was the theming inside. In past years, the tribute shop has been a place of heavy theming, based on the houses of the year to the extent that it almost looks like a maze for the event itself. But with Halloween Horror Nights 30 being cancelled, will they still put in the effort to make it just as scary as the past years? The short answer is yes. Absolutely, positively, yes. To give you a sense of the detail Universal put into the shop, I'm simply going to describe it to you. As you walk into the shop, you enter the first entrance room. Here you can see a crashed room and hear noises of things being destroyed around you. You then follow a skeleton hand around the wall and into the first two major rooms of the shop, Frankenstein's laboratory. Right next to you, as you walk in, is a gigantic spinning gear and a huge wall of pipes. In the center of the room, you can see a covered-up Frankenstein on an electric board, complete with light and sound effects. You then move into the second room of the shop, the Icons room. As you look around, you feel wind from wind machines hidden in the area and see the Jack the Clown mannequin standing in the center of the room. Entrances to past tribute shops and pumpkins of all shapes and sizes line the walls that are also shared with banners of the past icons. And if you have a good enough eye, you can find tons upon tons of references to all of the icons, to the point that there's almost too many to count. Okay, I'll stop now. Sorry for getting carried away. It's just when something as small as the tribute store gets so much detail and attention as it did, I just have to stop to admire it. But the important details I left out for the tribute store is actually what's being sold in it. The first room of the tribute store, or Frankenstein's laboratory, sells the entire line of classic Universal Monsters merchandise that is usually sold in the store that is now the exit to the Bourne Stuntacular. The room also holds display to masks that are almost Mardi Gras-like, however more Halloween-themed. You can also buy custom-painted skulls here. The second room is where you can buy some of the never-before-seen merchandise, however. This room does sell the entire 30 Years of Fear's merchandise line, but also has an exclusive comic book-looking t-shirt that has characters from past Scare Zones on it. Here you can also buy a mystery pin box for the 30 Years of Fear's pins that can't be found anywhere else in the park. In the second room, you can also buy masks for famous characters that have come to Halloween Horror Nights, such as Chucky the Doll or the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, just to name a few. The last thing to note for the tribute shop is that there probably is going to be even more of this store to come for the future. The store usually has 3 rooms instead of 2, and has a blocked off doorway which actually says coming soon. And it is being openly admitted that the store won't be closing until an unannounced date in October. So the odds of even more store opening to the public is quite high. So keep a lookout for that. So, limited time Halloween merchandise is going up to the public in the tribute shop, but there is actually even more spooky purchases to be made if you have an annual pass. A Halloween Horror Night pass holder exclusive icon shirt is now being sold in the annual pass lounge. And while you go to take a look at that, you can also pick up this month's brand new button of Frank the Pug. A win-win scenario if you ask me. And that actually isn't it for annual pass holders this week. A few weeks back, an area over top of Con Francisco Grill and Port of Entry called the Navigators Club opened as a UOAP lounge area. This area has been open just fine since then, but as of this week, they're doing 2 things. The first of which is they actually added a pass holder only pad thigh dish. The dish will be served until August 6th, so get it while it lasts. The second thing is that they have also announced that the area will be closing to all pass holders on August 20th. This is disappointing as it most likely won't be reopening to the public anytime soon, as it is a special events area, but all good things must come to an end. Moving on in Islands of Adventure, we actually have something that's one of the larger updates that we have weekly, the Velocicoaster. Nothing has really happened to the track this week, as all we are waiting for now is the final S-bend and the brake run, but it doesn't mean construction hasn't been going along quite nicely still. The rockwork framework on the top hat side of the attraction has been getting some attention, with more steel finishing some of the rock formations, and also some of the rocks are even getting painted and detailed. The first show building has also had some more paneling added to its one wall, so it's almost completely covering the orange paint that was added just 2 weeks ago. The speed of this coaster's construction is amazing, and from the looks of the track, it's going to be an award-winning experience. But Universal winning awards isn't something we have to imagine, as Uni actually has won an award this week. TripAdvisor has given Islands of Adventure the award for the second best theme park in the entire world, only coming behind Disney's Magic Kingdom. They also gave the Studios Park the 4th best in the world, placing behind Animal Kingdom for 3rd place. It's ridiculously impressive both parks managed to get a top 5 placement, and I personally think both parks deserve it all the way. So that's all the major things I could find in Universal Orlando this week. That doesn't mean I didn't find the good things of small things too, however. So get ready for some rapid-fire small updates I found. In Port of Entry, a new name art stand has opened where they will paint out the letters of your name in different themes. Just down the path at Interplanetary Popcorn, they now have signs up announcing that they are now serving cheese and pepperoni pizza, along with churros. The other way down the same path, you can now find a new bacon cheeseburger mini sign outside the window of Green Eggs and Ham. A lot farther down the same path, Hagrid has been experimenting with a standby queue that, depending on the day, mostly stayed at a 25-minute to 60-minute wait time. Just completely in the other park at this point, San Francisco now has a Jaws-pressed penny machines. And Universal also updated their mask policy so that now all masks must be 2-ply in order to be worn around the park. Is it over? It's over! Okay, well, since that's all the small things for this week, I guess that means that the video's over. So thank you so much for watching, and with all of that said and done, this is Wuno, signing off.